this point in your career, any different sort of feelings on this belt at all? Because you kind of had to go through a whole roller coaster
Yeah, I mean,
to get to
ultimately,
this
this,
point.
you know, on paper, this makes you a champion. They have to pay you as a champion. I think that is spectacular, and I definitely, recognize that. Outside that, I understand that it gives me the opportunity to fight Ilia Topuria. It was Khabib back then, and he was number one pound for pound, and I'm pretty sure Ilia's top three pound for pound right now. And so, these are the opportunities to that I really signed up, for this sport for that I asked for. And what better way to I'd be a fool to think that this is the beginning of my career. This is definitely towards the end, and what a way to finish. Beat Ilia, beat Paddy, beat Ilia, and then if there's another contender, beat them and be done. Or but ultimately to be able to you know fail and have the opportunity to come back and achieve gold will be, exactly the story that I've been trying to write. Been trying to inspire people and show people that, you know, um, everyone doesn't. It's hard to understand how difficult it is. I've had 38 fights, and they're 15 minutes or 25 minutes in time. And sometimes you give amazing interviews, and I'm sure some days you think that you maybe could have done better. And for us as athletes, it's you think you could be perfect and you want to be perfect, but to expect yourself to be absolutely perfect every single one of these fights is almost impossible. It's like somebody being perfect every day. And so, sometimes some nights we're off, some nights we're on. And so really it's just a battle to understand why I had great nights, why I had bad nights, and through this training process understand how and what I need to do to be perfect that night. And intuitively, reactionary, and in my heart. And so that's the battle, and that's the lessons that I've learned, along the way. And so I'm ready to compete and perform, January 24th.
I know there was a little bit of criticism about Paddy Pimblett getting this fight. Like, did you see some of that stuff online? I think people wanted to see you and Ilia Topuria, then they wanted to see you and Arman Sarukian, right?
Yeah,
Well, what's your reaction to people kind of being like, "Oh, Paddy, great fight. This is a great fight, but we don't know if he's deserving
yeah.
of this opportunity against
I
us."
mean, I felt just as much hate for me as I did for him. Um,
Oh, for
you know,
you?
people
Why?
saying,
I feel like they're happy. The people are happy about this. You getting this
I mean,
opportunity.
my fans are, the people that support me are, but obviously, Armin's the one. If you're an Armin fan, you obviously, feel, slighted, and I understand that. But this is such a crazy game, and timing is everything. I beat Dustin Poirier, and then he ended up fighting for a belt. After that, this is just a crazy game. And
Mm.
if you sign up for this game, you have to understand that there's so many variables that you do not control, and ultimately, you just have to be ready for each one of these nights when they show up.
Yeah, I know Arman Sarukian wants to help you train for Paddy Pimblett. Did you see that? He wants to offer his services to you.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. I mean, I would say that from my perspective, that was more of him trying to go against Patty rather than help me. But
Yep.
I'm not gonna go and start making drastic changes in my training camps when it comes to getting ready for these fights. I trust the team that I have. I will bring in training partners, um, but ultimately, I'm not going to bring in guys that I'm probably and possibly going to fight in the future.
Mm.
I
Hey,
got nothing
speaking.
against. I mean, he'd be a great training partner, but ultimately, I might have to fight him one day. So that'd be not smart.
Yeah. Speaking of Paddy Pimblett, man, I saw the odds. You came out. You're coming in as an underdog here. I was talking to Dan Hooker actually just the other day. Me and Dan don't really quite agree with the odds. What was your reaction when you saw that Paddy's the favorite going
Yeah, I
into this
mean,
fight?
for me, I love it.
Why? Why?
Uh,
Why do you love it? You love being the underdog going into fights?
yeah, I mean, you don't get here unless you're petty. I love that stuff. People telling me I can't do something is the reason I'm still here. Obviously the people that have believed in me keep inspiring me to continue, but it's ultimately the people that are telling me that I'm gonna fail or don't have it that push me to get up in the morning and light the fire under my ass. And so, um, people don't understand how crazy this game is. It's just such a crazy game. It's such a short amount of time, and in the grand scheme of things, it's a blimp. And so, it's a crazy game. I mean, like I said, I love being an underdog. I think I've been underdog out of my 14 fights at least 9 or 10 times, and I've won the majority of those. I think I've lost 2 or 3 times as an underdog. So I do love being an underdog. I prefer to be an underdog, and I do think that recency bias plagues us humans every single time. So it's
Mm.
perfect.
Is that what you think it is? Because I was trying to kind of decode it,
No,
and
I
I was
mean,
thinking, are they doing it because of age? Because with Paddy Pimblett, right? When you look at his record, he doesn't actually have any wins over anyone in the top 10. I think Chandler is 12 or something.
yeah,
So, and you're obviously fighting the best of the best all the time. It's like a bit of a two different careers next to each other. What do you think it is that the odds
I
makers are
think
seeing?
I think Occam's razor says it's the age. I think the age. I think there's a correlation to the math when it comes to younger guys versus older guys. They say over 35, 36. You don't win championship fights. Volkanovski just proved that wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't, believe in things like that. And I'm 28, 29 biologically, so I'm excited. I'm excited. I do think it's the age, though. It's
Mm.
probably the biggest variable.
Like, what's your reaction when you see people so decisively agreeing that on the ground, Paddy Pimblett has this huge advantage over you?
I mean, again, recency bias. People remember, the biggest fights that I've had against the most elite grapplers. I have had issues, but the way that Charles Oliveira got me to the ground was by, rocking me and sitting me down with a punch. Khabib was just a whole nother conundrum. And then, I mean, ultimately, he's a really good grappler. But since the Charles Oliveira fight, I've really trained a lot of jujitsu, a lot of grappling, and I've actually been enjoying it a lot more than I ever have. And so, I'm not looking to grapple, but I have no issue, with the grappling department, and my ability to keep people from taking me down is second to none. So he's gonna have to, you know, uh, compromise me with his punches and kicks and knees, and then, if that happens, then he'll have a better chance. But
Mm.
this is such a crazy game, you just never know.
Do you?
Maybe I'll sub him.
Well, I mean, it's anything's
It's got
possible,
to be
but
1,000,000 to 1 odds though.
he's known for sort of pushing the action, which makes this a really exciting fight. Do you believe against yourself he'll still be as aggressive, or do you think he's going to be trying to look to get this to the ground as quickly as possible?
Well, no, I mean, I think he's gonna have to. I mean, obviously, I think he's gonna fight smart. I think he's gonna fight a smart fight. I think he fought a smart fight versus Chandler. I think in the first round he was very calculated. He wasn't necessarily over aggressive, and I expect him to fight like that against me. And yeah, I really got to control his feet. When it comes to technique, he might not be there, but when it comes to like aggression and tenacity, I mean, those are big variables when it comes to striking, and those are things that he does not lack in. And so I'm going to need to still his momentum and still the confidence because that's why he is so effective right now.
Like, how would you rate what he does on the feet?
What I rated striking, probably like a 7 or an 8. I mean, he really throws a lot of power into his shots, and if you do get hit with those shots, like there's no doubt it's a problem. And he's constantly moving forward, and that's a big part of this sport, and it really gets him into these clinch positions and into these takedown positions off of his strikes. And so I really got to create angles and run him into shots. I've always said I create car crashes. I want to be the object that we're the same mass. I want to be the object that gets there first and has the most force, and that's by controlling his feet and running him into dangerous positions. Yeah, I mean, that means he might be looking past me. I would love that, but no, I know he's not. He's not a fool. He knows that he's fighting. Top five in the UFC. You'd be a fool to think that anything's going to be easy here. So
Hmm.
I'm ready. I'm going to be ready for Paddy Pimblett. I think he's great right now. I think again his confidence is his biggest variable that makes him so dangerous, and I'm going to have to really work hard to take that from him.
Mm. Hey, with Ilia Topuria, right? Because we'd love to see you unify the belt with Ilia Topuria if things go to plan at UFC 324. But do you believe that Topuria hangs around the division? Are you hoping you get a chance to unify the belt against him, or do you think he might be going up to do this whole Islam thing potentially? Who knows? Maybe at the White House
Yeah,
or something.
I guess I don't really have an opinion. I mean, if he went up, I would just be the champion, which I would,
Mm.
I'm not going to complain about. But I think what that leaves open is the chance for me to get a rematch against Max Holloway or Charles Oliveira, get my belt and get the BMF belt. And ultimately, that was the script I've been speaking into existence since the Fiziev fight. I thought I was going to fight Ilia in January, and then I was going to fight Max or whoever had to be Max or all of it. Now they're fighting, but before it was just Max. I was going to fight Max in the the White House card, and then have both those belts.
You're not looking past Paddy Pimblett. You're focused on UFC 324. So I want to preface this question with that. But how sweet would it be for you to be able to defend, unify, do this Ilia Topuria fight on this White House card, the biggest card of all time?
Yeah. No, I would be. It would be an honor, honestly. I love representing this country. It's very difficult to represent this country because it's so divided at times. But the way that I fight, I think I don't care where you're from or what you look like. You can appreciate the fact that I represent this country well and with maximum effort and dignity and grace. And I try to be respectful at all times. But yeah, I mean, being on the White House card would be amazing for me, amazing for my family. Coming from such a small place in Arizona, to get the opportunity is exactly why I'm here. It's going to be a perfect last chapter.
What's your message about this Paddy Pimblett fight? Why do people need to tune in UFC 324, Paramount Plus, in Australia here as well, on
Yep.
KO Sport? Why do they need to check it out?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I might be boring behind a mic, but there's no one more consistent or more exciting when you step in the octagon. And Paddy's, with his aggression and his hunger, I think it's going to be same as every other Michael Johnson type fight where I might get rocked a couple times, but my grit and tenacity and will to win is going to, overcome. So I'd rather, he wants both bonuses. That's the difference between age. Now I just want one bonus, performance of the night. I know that if I get fight of the night and performance of the night, I probably got rocked a few times and, definitely faced some adversity and it came back, which I'm okay with, but it's not my preference. I prefer to knock him out with my first punch and get performance of the night bonus and move on. Least damage possible, but this is the damage sport, so I'm not scared to get in there and mix it up. I think it's very important to move forward on Paddy. I think it's very important not to give him space or ground, and I think I'm gonna work hard to take that from him.